What's up and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a different kind of video for you guys, and I'm going to be sharing the books that I am reading in August. If you don't know much about me, I really enjoy like eating healthy, but I also really enjoy reading a lot of books. And so my goal for this year was to read 75. Right now I'm only about 40, I guess, in my goal. But before I go back to work this fall, I'm trying to be able to like catch up on my reading. So for July, I had read, so far, I'm about to finish my 10th book, but I will be doing an updated video and sharing all the books that I read for in July. And for August, I decided to try and read 15 books. I think I have 16 that I'm gonna show you in the pile, but I'm going to try and read 15. Now, if you don't know, I actually run a Facebook book club, and I will have that linked down below in the description box, so make sure you go check that out. We do a whole bunch of reading discussions and lots of really fun activities. So if you're someone that really loves reading and loves to make like other reader friends, definitely become a member in this group. August, we're doing a TBR shelf challenge, and so this challenge makes it so that you can like clear out or at least read a bunch of books on your shelf. In this TBR shelf challenge, we're going to be using a random number picker. That way, if you have tons and tons of books on your shelves, you can just punch in the number. Say you have, I don't know, 50 books on your TBR shelf that you haven't read. And then that way, the random like number picker can pick out, you know, maybe number 15, and that would be the book that you start reading. And so whatever your goals are for that month, they can be different for everyone. So if you only read 1 or 2 books a month, or if you read 50 books a month, like, you know, there's something for all of us. In October, we're gonna do a Harry Potter readathon and scavenger hunt and movie-thon. So you should definitely come check out this book club. I'm going to be talking about it a lot in my upcoming bookish videos. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started because this video is probably going to be long. To start off, I'm going to be reading this novel that I got from Book of the Month, and it is Ghosted by Rosie Walsh. Now, this seems like a really cute read for the summer. I've been reading, normally I read a lot of like thriller and dystopia books, so I really wanted to have just like a cute, fun read. Now, there is a little bit of a thriller aspect in it because it's about this girl that finds this guy and she thinks that they're absolutely perfect, and then all of a sudden like everything's going really well when they're like texting back and forth, and eventually he just stops talking to her randomly and she doesn't know why. So I don't know if you've heard that term before, like if you're ghosted, it's because you were talking to somebody and then they all of a sudden just like disappear from like messaging you. So this sounds like it's gonna have a little bit of a thriller in it, but it's mostly a love story, and I am super excited. I've never read anything by this author before, and the cover is just beautiful, so I cannot wait to read this one. Then the other pick that I did from Book of the Month is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. Now, I actually read Final Girls at the beginning of this year, and it's definitely one of like the highest rated books that I've read this year. I really enjoyed it. So when I saw it was a Book of the Month pick, I was super excited to get it. So this story follows these girls that went to a camp, and I guess some of them disappeared while they were there. The main character, Emma, actually grew up and turned out to be a famous painter, and the camp counselor wanted her to be like an art instructor at this camp. So she goes back, this is, you know, after she's grown up, she goes back to see if she can uncover the truth about why those girls disappeared. So this is a like thriller or mystery, and I'm hoping that the story is going to be amazing. So I'm super excited to read this. Next up is the book Into the Water by Paul Hawkins. This has definitely been out for a while. I just kept not getting, you know, to read it. And so I'm finally putting it on my list. And it's by the, you know, author of The Girl on the Train. And I actually read The Girl on the Train, and I really enjoyed it. I watched the movie, but the movie is never as good as the book. So I really enjoyed the book of Girl on the Train, and I am hoping that this one is also really good. This one is about multiple different women that are found in the same exact like lake or water, and just the story behind like why they're showing up dead in the water, what secrets there are. So I'm hoping that this is a good read. Now my next read is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. A lot of people have already read this book. I'm just late in getting to it. I watched the very first season last year. I binged the very first season on Netflix. I thought it was great and fantastic, and then I was super excited for the second season to come out, but so far I've only been a couple episodes of the second season because it's gotten kind of depressing. So I decided to read the book because I really wanted to just see the parallels between the TV show and the book, and so I'm hoping that I just get to kind of see a little bit more. You know, the book is always better than the movies or TV shows, so I just, really wanted to read the book and see how everything is portrayed in the book and if it's similar to the way that they portrayed it in the TV series. If you've already read this book, let me know in the comments. If you are not familiar with this book, it is about this girl, Hannah, who committed suicide. She left these 13 cassette tapes for her friends to listen to that explain the reasons why she ended up committing suicide. And so it is a pretty crazy read, so you just need to make sure that you are, in the right place to read it, or especially if you're watching the show, maybe you need to have someone along with you because it is definitely not an easy topic to read about. Now, I have a buddy read that I am doing for the month of August, and so the one that I picked to read with a buddy is The Good Girl by Mary Kubica. I hope I say that right. I am terrible at saying names, so in all of my in all my new book videos, the names are probably gonna be slaughtered. Let me just tell you. So I'm super excited to read this. I've been wanting to read it for a long time, and then when I was able to pick a buddy for August, she wanted to read this book, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So this story is about this girl who goes to meet her boyfriend at a bar, I think it was, a specific place and time, meeting her boyfriend, and it ends up that he doesn't show, and she goes home with another guy, just this random guy who turns out to be an abductor, which is super crazy. And so they, her mom and her family members and stuff can't find her anymore. And so this book goes about how they find her, and she's being hidden, all that kind of stuff. So super excited about that because I do always wonder what would happen if something like that happened to people, and that it does happen to people, so it'll be interesting to read this book. Now, I also have this Every Last Lie, which is also the same author as The Good Girl. This story is about a family where they get into a car crash and the husband dies, but the actual daughter and the mother survive, and then she finds out that maybe someone actually wanted to kill her husband and it wasn't just an accident, and it goes through the story behind that. So I'm super excited. I have a lot of thrillers on my list, it seems like, but thrillers are one of my favorites. Nemesis by Brendan Reichs. I'm not sure how you say that. I've been wanting to read this for a really long time, and it is actually part of I think it has a sequel. I think that's it. But so far, I just got the first book to see if I even like this story. I'm not that great at reading series. I don't know what it is. I guess I'm impatient. This book is about a little girl that once she turned 8, and every 2 years after, she gets murdered, and then she wakes up again. I don't know, it's a really crazy story. It really intrigued me because I don't know if you've seen the movie Happy Death Day, but that was a pretty good movie. And so I'm excited for this book because who wouldn't be that's kind of crazy if you if someone murders you every 2 years and then you come back alive and every 2 years you get murdered again. Super crazy. This book, let me be honest, I kind of picked it because the cover was so beautiful, and it is 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. This is part of a trilogy, I believe, but I only have picked the first book, that way I can see if I like it. And this is kind of a science fiction / dystopian book. It's about this girl who has parents that are really good scientists, and I guess her parents created, I don't know, different dimensions or worlds. And when her father gets murdered, she goes out to kind of find who his killer is, and she ends up meeting people that are the same people in her world but in a different dimension. I don't know if you've read Dark Matter, but it's kind of like that book where it's based on different dimensions, and so that book was pretty crazy, and so I'm excited to read this, actually. I love things that have to deal with do you know if it's real or fake, or just depending upon what decisions you make in one world might affect how you are in a different world. It's pretty crazy, I know. I'm a nerd. Another mystery, In the Woods by Tana French. I have not read any Tana French books yet, but I have a lot that are in my pile that I want to read, so I'm gonna start out with this book. So this book is about 3 children that were playing in the woods when they were younger, and I think 2 of them disappear, and the only one that is left is just this like little boy that, you know, his mom finds in the woods, and he has like blood on his shoes, and I don't know, he just doesn't really realize what happened. And he grows up to be like a private investigator, and then a 12-year-old girl goes missing in the exact same woods, and so he kind of has to like figure out what happened when he was younger, and also try and, you know, find this girl that got lost. And I feel like I just read lots of books about murder and lost people. Like, what is this? I don't know. But I'm super excited about this, and I'm hoping if I really enjoy her, I'll read a lot more books by her. This one is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, and I've heard really awesome things about this book. I really wanted to do it because I do like reading, you know, all different kinds of books at one time. I don't want to read just all thrillers in August or, you know, all sci-fi in August. And so I make sure that I put in a couple just real life situations a little bit. I mean, this really isn't real life situation, but so this book is about, I guess, a world where it lets you know like which day you're gonna die. And I guess you have like 24 hours to live that day before dying. So it's about these 2 guys that meet each other because they both know that they're going to die in that exact same day, and it kind of just tells you like, how would you live your life if you knew you were dying on a specific day? And so I do really like reading books about, you know, just really thinking about how you live day to day, and what if you knew your future or when you were gonna die. Those seem to really like fascinate me, so I'm super excited about this. I've heard that people cry during it, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But I'm really excited to see like how this book is going to play out. Now, I found this book because I read Caraval in the month of July, and I really, really enjoyed Caraval. And I'm not a huge like YA reader. And so I heard about this book, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And supposedly it's like an adult fantasy novel, and so I wanted to see if this one just had a little bit more depth than Caraval. I did really, really love Caraval, don't get me wrong, but I just like to have the little bit more of adult kind of reading style, I guess. And so I loved the magic aspects of Caraval, and so I really wanted to read something that was kind of like that. So this follows 2 girl magicians, or illusionists, I guess, where they have to compete, like they've been training their whole entire life to compete in this one last game where only one of them is going to be left standing. Like one of them has to die. And so just the details of game and illusionist like really drew me in because I just love things like that. So I'm super excited. I hope this has that kind of magic or whimsical kind of storytelling that Caraval had. I really, really love that magic aspect. And so I'm super excited to see like how this book is. I've heard really, really awesome, great things about this one. And so I'm just super, super excited to read this in August. So this next book, actually one of the members of the book group told me to read. She said I would really, really love it. And it is Adam by Ted Dekker. I have not read any of his books before, but this is like a super crazy psychological thriller, and I'm super excited to read it. So this book is about a psychologist that's trying to like find and capture a psychopath that's been killing like 16 different women. And it turns out that he is the next victim, and he actually like gets killed. And I guess it's some weird, crazy story about how he, I don't know, like could tell that he was killed and can like go back and see everything that happened, and so that's haunting him, but he's still trying to get a hold of the psychopath killer. I don't know. It was a crazy like synopsis to read. I didn't quite understand all of it. I just knew that I wanted to read it. So this is definitely on my list for August. Now, this next book kind of reminds me of The Walking Dead because it sounds like there's zombies. But it is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey, and this is part of a series, but I only got the first book because I want to read it and see if I like it. And this is about, I guess there's a couple different like waves of destruction that have gone over the earth. One was darkness, one was like, I don't know, unlucky people or something like that. Well, anyway, now that they're at the dawn of the fifth wave, I guess the earth is like roaming with these like crazy zombie thingies or something like that. And it's about these people that need to survive, and I love a good survival story. So I'm hoping that this is kind of like The Walking Dead, because I'm obsessed with The Walking Dead. Now, another book that this one kind of reminds me of Ready Player One, and that was a fantastic book if you want to go read it. But this is called The Other World by Jason Segel, and it is a book written kind of like it's a game, but not really. But it's like a visual, like virtual reality world where you're kind of like living in a world that's not really real, but you can like be your best self and like leave your body behind. You're in this other world where you're just living the way you want to live, I guess. And you kind of just get trapped, I guess, in that mindset of what is real versus what is the game. And so I'm super excited to read that because it kind of reminds me of Ready Player One. I don't really have anything else to say about this. I haven't really heard if it's good or not, but it sounds like a type of book that I would like. Now, there is another book. I will just pop it up on the screen here. It is called The One by John Mars, and it's actually one of the books that we are reading in the book group, because for August, we are doing a sci-fi genre month. We do different genres every month, and our first pick is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, which is absolutely amazing. I read it like last fall. But the one I haven't read yet is The One by John Mars. And I did start listening to the audiobook just a little bit, but it's about this like dating site where they can take you like send in your blood sample and they actually find the one for you. And so instead of like people getting married to just random people and getting divorced, it's like 23andMe. Like you send your blood test into this like, I don't know, laboratory, and they email you and they tell you like the match that you have that's actually the one. You're totally compatible with this person because, I don't know, like their blood and characteristics and everything like matches them. And so it breaks up a lot of marriages, and it's just about these different people within the book like doing this and how it affects them, whether they've already been married before and had a great marriage and they did it and they broke up. There's also, I think, like a serial killer in the book, I think. And so it's a very interesting story. Like one of the members of the group is actually sending me a real copy, and so I'll probably read it in like one day. And then the last book that I have on my list to read, and I don't think it's getting mailed to me until like halfway through August, is Close My Eyes by Sophia Mackenzie. This book is, I think, about like a pregnancy and the loss of a baby. And so I can't remember the synopsis off the top of my head, but I know it's definitely like an emotional, like mystery thriller type of book. And so it kind of like really drew me in. I have a problem with like wanting to read thrillers. I'm drawn into so many thrillers, it's crazy. I'm hoping that it's a good read like all of the books that I have on my list. That is it for my August TBR. Yes, I have some crazy goals in for me for the month, but I'm hoping with all the motivation that I get from my book club and all the members that are inside of it, I can tackle my whole entire TBR list before I officially go back to work and then have not as much time to read. Don't forget, I have the link to my book club and also my link to Goodreads, which you can always see. I update all the time of what I'm reading. I have that linked down in the description box. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you've liked it, because that way I can do more book videos for all you people that love books. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys!